the art of receiving. It's, often we grow up with the belief that it's more noble to give than to receive. So it's, selfish, self-centered to receive. And so giving's fine. We can certainly use more of that in our narcissistic world. Being caring and loving and attentive to others is great. But often we have a block to receiving, me included. It's not always easy for me to receive a compliment or a gift, or, we'll dismiss it.
Mm-hmm.
For one reason, we want to be in control. When we're receiving, we're more vulnerable. We don't want to be vulnerable, because it opens us to a more tender place. Oh, gee, wow, you were thinking of me. You brought me that nice gift. Or, this gentleman was opening the door for me when I was going into the post office. So I quickly just kind of grabbed it and said, no, you go first. And then afterwards, I was kind of amused with my inability to receive his kind gesture. Just automatically not allowing myself to receive that. And if we don't let in people's kindness, if we're not able to receive a compliment or a gift or some random act of kindness, it's actually a rejection of the other person, because it feels good to give. And if we're a society of people who are busy giving all the time and nobody's available to receive, then what good is the giving? Nobody's there to receive it. So to receive it is actually a gift to the giver. You're giving them something. You're giving them your openness. You're giving them your gratitude. And often people can feel that you're receiving them, and it feels good to them that, oh, a graciousness, a kindness. Oh, well, thank you. That feels good. And
I find that really, I find that quite touching, what you've just described, because I feel on the one hand, for me, I guess, how many little gestures of giving I dismiss. And sometimes dismiss maybe out of a mistaken guise of kind of not wanting to take it, as though it's sort of more generous not to take the compliment, which is ridiculous. And sometimes doubting the sincerity of the offering, the gift or whatever in some way. But
right.
even your example of the door, again, I feel like if you say thank you very much and walk through the door, there is a moment of connection.
Exactly.
Yes, but also I'm thinking maybe part of our reluctance to receive is just avoiding that contact.
Exactly. Yes, I think so. Yeah, we're often it's kind of new. It's often, we don't know what to do with it. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of kindness that someone shows us, we don't know what to do with that. And we think we don't deserve it. That could be another part. We're not deserving of love and kindness.
Or we have
And
to give something back then to make it equal.
yes, exactly. We're obligated. There's strings attached to this. Somebody gives us something. Oh, now, someone says, I love you. We have to immediately say back, oh, I love you too, without really receiving. So, I would encourage people, someone says, I love you, like your partner, say, for example, don't quickly say back, I love you too. Just take a moment, pause, drop into your body. Well, how does it feel to receive that? Can you let yourself feel that? And then maybe later you can reciprocate. But love is a free gift. There's no obligation to have to give anything back. That's the nature of a gift. You're not obligated. Just let it in.
I'm just sitting with that.
What do
I'm
you
I'm noticing I'm noticing um, when you talk about, I totally agree with you, and yet I'm really imagining along with you as you describe the situation of like a partner saying, I love you, and not immediately saying it back, which I wouldn't want to do because it wouldn't feel true, because I wouldn't even be feeling anything about them. I would be at least in the shock of what has just been said to me. So it takes a while to process that. But I would be thinking, what's happening to my partner if I don't say that back right away?
Yeah, with so much wanting to be like a caretaker for the other person. Oh, I got to protect them, protect their feelings. But people are stronger than we think usually.
Yeah.
So yeah, so to be with that deliciously squirmy feeling of someone just saying "I love you," it can be wonderful practice. Just, notice how uncomfortable you are. And that's front and center. Then notice that and just be with that. That could be your doorway into finally letting it in gradually, or maybe later you'll let it in when you sit with it again.
Yeah, it's interesting because I find myself again wondering, oh my goodness, what happens to my partner if I show the squirminess that comes in me in response to that declaration?
It might be a delicious moment of intimacy
It might be.
or you can talk about, hey, when you say you love me, I'm really practicing letting it in. And for me to let it in, I don't want to feel obligated to immediately respond. No obligation, no pressure to have to respond, and just let it in. Would you be okay with that? And same with you. If I share something kind with you, feel free to just let it in. You don't have to say anything.
Mm.
But that's one of the problems. We get into our head too much, all these calculations, and we overthink it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
It's just going to play out if I do this or if I don't do this. Just relax, be yourself.
yeah. And would you do kind of sort of specific experiential work in a couple session, like on receiving and really letting something come in? Would you sort of almost coach in a way?
Yeah, like, how does it feel when she, gave you that compliment? How was that for you? Try to slow it down, pause, and, see what that can be received or what gets in the way. That could be a great thing to focus on. What gets in the way of receiving. That's a great thing to focus. Maybe it's shame or not feeling worthy or feeling like, oh, if I let that in, I'm going to be really vulnerable. I mean, this is what happens oftentimes. Can I afford to let myself be vulnerable and let that in because I might be attacked the next minute or
Mm-hmm.
what's the next day. So, it takes building a climate of safety too, to be able, so it's a gradual process of letting in those compliments, those gifts, and being able to trust it and being able to process when things get off the rails.
Mm-hmm.